Hello, I'm Dana Scranton, and today's blog is a follow-up to a previous blog entitled Social Media Marketing Paradigm Shift or Social Marketing Paradigm Shift. There's two blogs on my site. You can check both of those out. One of them is an audio blog, basically a copy of my podcast. And in those two blogs, what I did is I put forward the theory that there was a paradigm shift going on in the social media marketing world. In other words, the way that people respond to marketing messages from entrepreneurs like you and myself. And so what I did is I told you in those two blogs that I was going to go out and talk to some gurus, gather additional information, and see if I could validate this sense that I was picking up. So I've done that, and indeed, I have correlated it and validated it. So let me just give you a brief refresher of what we talked about in those previous blogs. When I talk about relationship relevant marketing, which I coined 2RM. What I mean there is that when it comes to marketing online, especially in a social media environment, people seek relationships. They seek communication. They seek unity. They want to be part of a community. They don't want to be sold to. They don't want to be pitched. They don't want to be marketed to. Now, people have come up with different ways to soften their approach, but ultimately, they're still using that approach. And it's beginning to fail more and more. It's becoming less accepted. And there are very good reasons for that, because in the online world, what's happened is the relationships that we have formed have now become acceptable. They've become comfortable. They've become the new paradigm. You don't have to have an organic person-to-person relationship with somebody where you can take them out to lunch. You have a social media relationship. You have a digital relationship. And so the expectations in that environment are changing. And one of those expectations is the word value. Now, value is a word that's been used a lot in marketing. In fact, it gets overused, but it is, in fact, a good word. So I want to talk a little bit about that. When it comes to understanding your customer, and you're in business to sell your product, where a product is goods, services, or leadership. It's one of those three, or it's all of those three. And so you have to understand what it is your customer wants and needs, right? I mean, this is basic marketing. But here's where the word value gets misused. So I'm going to clear that up, and I'm going to bring them together, put a differentiation between the two, but I'm also going to show you how they are very relevant to one another and how it plays into this new paradigm shift that I've talked about. Well, first of all, if you do a needs analysis, needs and wants analysis on your customer avatar, that foundational element of your target market, you will find that they've got a lot of different needs, and some of them are related and some of them aren't. And then you're going to compare those needs against your product offering, and you're going to be looking for ways to address the needs with your product. That's where the shift is occurring. That's where one of the fundamental changes in online marketing is taking place right now. So if you do that analysis and you write down all the needs and wants that you can imagine your target market avatar has, and then you prioritize those, and you prioritize those in the sense of what it means to them, not what it means to you, not the ones that are going to align with your product. You prioritize them according to what that customer is living in a day-to-day life. The top priorities in the wants and need category are their values. It's what they value most at that particular time. And your product may not fit to solve the need for the value in those particular categories. But in some respects, this is where you can make the greatest gains. Now, remember what I just said about a product. It is one of three things. It's either goods, it's services, or it's leadership. Now, you as an entrepreneur have a fundamental requirement, a responsibility to be a leader. And who do you lead? Well, you lead yourself for one. You lead your team, and you lead your customer. You are a leader to those three entities. So, if you have a customer, an avatar that represents your target market, and they don't happen to fit what your product offering is in the sense of the actual goods or services, then you have one product left in your inventory, and that's leadership. And that's what they want in the modern paradigm. When it comes to social media marketing, the communities that you are involved in want leadership. That leadership brings value. That leadership brings them information, it brings them content, it brings them things that they can use to address that which they value most, even if it has nothing to do with your goods and services. What it does do is position you as someone who has empathy with and cares about your marketplace. You care enough to have looked into their life, and your content helps them solve problems in areas that aren't necessarily going to make you money right away. That's what the paradigm shift is all about. This is relationship relevant marketing, okay? 2RM. The relationship is important to people in social media. It's important to people in the online environment. It has to be relevant. Relevant to what? Relevant to what they value. Does it make sense? Now, I have corroborated this with a few experts in the online world who do indeed see the same paradigm shift coming. And so how do you take advantage of that? Well, it's very, very simple. You start thinking more about how you can bring value to your customers in all areas of their life and not just the areas that align with your goods or services. Be a leader. Bring leadership to your market. Bring leadership to your customers. Establish the relationship so that you can achieve that know, like, and trust status, and then the rest will form from there. So I hope this made a little sense, and I'm going to continue bringing feedback to you on this particular phenomenon because I do believe this is where it's going. So if you're in the business of content generation as part of your marketing strategy, keep in mind that that content is all about being relationship relevant, not goods and services that you want to sell relevant. That will come, and that can be integrated into the mix. But do keep in mind, you're dealing with people in an environment who have now come to appreciate relationships in a digital sense in a much different way than you may have been accustomed to in the past.